A-D-N.
It's HeadphonesNeil!
What's up, guys, and welcome back to HeadphonesNeil Reviews. I'm your host, as always, HeadphonesNeil, with a briefer than usual episode for this week. I'm going to start off with a TV show review, video game update, and then the update for the next gameplay. So if you're a member of the YouTube channel, then you're going to start getting those videos soon, and then it'll start hitting the public YouTube feed right after the Voxel Doom gameplay is complete. So with that being said, I had a chance to finish watching Stargate Universe Season 2, and generally speaking, I can see why they didn't renew the series beyond the second season. They spent way too much time with the interpersonal drama. It goes back to what I mentioned last week, that they spent too much time trying to make it a mix between Stargate Atlantis and Battlestar Galactica, but in the Stargate universe. So they never really had their foot anywhere, and then they tried to make it a regular drama of what happens if everyone is stuck on a ship and no guarantee they'll be able to go home. So I think, to me, and then it was also compounded by the fact that they had the communication stone so they could still go home, so they kind of had their sanity but then didn't. And I mean, granted, a lot of it could have been solved if Dr. Rush had told everyone he has control of the ship right off the bat, but it's also one of those things where even if he had done that, it's a matter of still figuring out how they're going to get control of the ship and actually control it, what they're going to do with that control, who's going to sit in the chair successfully, and all of that stuff. So I think it's one of those things where even if they had not resolved the thing with the aliens that can detect, that want the ship to begin with, I think that if they had spent more time, trying to take control of the siege ship, or I think they should have gone along the direction of Rush telling everybody he has control of the ship, but still keeping the rest of his personality for control, and thinking he's superior to everyone else, and then ultimately acknowledging that the video game kid, is actually smarter than him. So between that and then rehashing the thing between the civilians and the military like they did on Stargate Atlantis was already something that they had done. So they generally just moved away from the whole premise of the Stargate universe, no pun intended, of exploration, learning about new parts of the galaxy and the ancients and all of that stuff. So for me, what they could do to round out the story of Stargate universe is do either another Stargate movie or another season where they tie in Universe Atlantis and SG-1, where the ship comes out in that other galaxy as expected, but as it turns out, because they didn't know what they were looking at the map, or because, and they explore this a little bit as far as the ship being intuitive, the ship comes out in that other galaxy, doesn't wake everybody, renews all of its resources because that's where it was headed anyways, and takes them back to Atlantis because that was a home base of the ship. And then they're ultimately able to go back to Earth and, either have like some sort of reveal that, okay, well, they are able to use the technology to their advantage. It does a download or dump of the download of all the data because the ship realizes that these humans are the descendants of the ancients, and it's okay to give them that data. They use the technology to build forward and reestablish the ancient civilization and all that. But something along those lines, where the ship figures out that it needs to go back to Atlantis to save the people, and then they go back to Earth because they now have proper control of the ship because it's finished its mission. So with that being said, like I said, I'm still kind of underwhelmed with it this time around, just because I can see more of like they spent too much time on the drama. The premise of what they were doing was fine, but then the revelation of the ship stuff came a little bit too late. It was spread in between too much drama and it felt less like a Stargate show and more of just a space drama. So with that being said, the Voxel Doom gameplay is still going on. Overall, I'm enjoying the gameplay. For the most part, I'm remembering a lot of the levels, and they're not as bad as the first time I played them. So overall, still a fun game. Now that we're in episode 2, The Shores of Hell, and we've beat the first episode knee deep in the dead. So we have new enemies like the Kako Demon, the Lost Souls. And I think there was 1 or 2 other ones, but Knee Deep in the Dead is still a fun initial entry into the Doom franchise, so definitely worth playing. And then the Barons of Hell were oddly easy to take down if you have a rocket launcher, so it's nice. This time around with the gameplay, I'm a little bit better, especially with all the other games I've played, that I'm a little bit better, I feel, with inventory and ammo management. So now that I have more time to explore the game and defeat the enemies a little bit easier and more effectively and efficiently, I now have more ammunition by the end of each level. So going into the next level, like for example the boss fight with the Barons of Hell, I have enough rockets to take them down with a few rockets, and the level is done. So now we're in the Shores of Hell. So we get a little bit more hellish stuff, more acid, and a little bit more difficulty to the game. So having some fun with that. But something I wanted to do this time around that I thought of after I started the game was I wanted to put a long play up of each episode, just to see how long it would take for me to do it, how long it takes to put in the episode markers in the videos and all that. So the episode 1 long play is up, so you can, if you don't want to go level by level through a playlist, I've put the long play video up on the YouTube channel. I'll have it linked in the show notes as well, so you can watch it directly. I have the level markers in there, so if you want to jump around to a particular level, then you can watch it. It is directly from my gameplay of each gameplay video that I'm putting up to begin with, so it's not going to be markedly different, except for now they're all just in sequence with episode markers. So if you want it all in one video, they're there. So if you want to watch my gameplay of Hanger but then jump to Phobos Anomaly or then back to Central Processing, that's all there for you as well. And I'm going to do the same thing for the Shores of Hell and Inferno. So if you want a more cinematic gameplay of each episode, then that will be available on the YouTube channel. So that's really all there is to say about all of that. With that being said, as far as the members go on the YouTube channel, the gameplay for Voxel Doom is complete. So for the podcast, I'll have the review for the Shores of Hell next week, and then the review for Inferno the week after that. But if you are a member of the YouTube channel, then the next gameplay is going to be my replay of Knights of the Old Republic 1. I got to thinking, because after that video for Star Wars, not Tales of the Jedi, but there was that video that came up on YouTube, making its way around the internet, of one of the shows that's coming later in September for I think it's coming to Disney Plus. It's Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy Pieces of the Past, and they had a Darth Revan bit in there. So I got to thinking that, well, now that I'm done with this Doom gameplay, I don't have anything specific I want to play, so let me see what kind of character build I haven't done lately. And near as I can tell, I have not done a Soldier Guardian build in Knights of the Old Republic, or at least nothing that I've put up on the YouTube channel. I might have done it years ago, but nothing lately like that. So the next gameplay is going to be a canon light side gameplay of a Soldier Guardian character. So Look out for that. I'm going to be using the usual 4 mods of Jedi from the start. That's more of a story progression, or that resolves the story progression of why your character has force powers, and kind of that innuendo between like Karth and Bastila by the time you get to Dantooine of why you have these powers and the visions and all that. Easy Pazak, mostly just because it's kind of a not necessarily broken, but it's a biased system in favor of the game, so it's really hard to get the discounts with the Rodian, or if you want to make some quick earn some quick credits in the game, then it's really hard with the vanilla version, so Easy Pazak just to get through that. Easy Swoop Racing mod is there just because in the mobile Android version of the game, it's a really hard thing to beat. It can be done, but it's very, very sluggish. It's a relic of its time because the game came out like in 2003 or something like that. So this is mostly just for completing those specific missions. So it puts all the accelerator pads in a row, so you just have to go straight. And it's more tedious work so that you can progress with the those particular missions if you want to get through all of them. I'm planning on doing them all. Haven't decided how much or little I'm going to do depending on if the game breaks or not or whatever, but I'm planning on doing the character side quests as well, so I'm using that mod just so it's ready for me when I get there. And then remove restrictions for force powers by armors is one of those things where one of the things that kind of sucks is that the game doesn't let you use every armor with force powers. So it's one of those things where it is nice to use the more advanced armors with your force powers to make your soldier character at least a more powerful character. With the scoundrel and scout characters, it's less of an important thing because they don't necessarily need as much armor. So using the stock game settings for armor is fine, but if you want a soldier with better armor and force powers, that's where this mod comes into play. So you can use your force powers with, I don't remember if you can specifically use it with like Davik's armor. I know you can't use your force powers with Darth Bandon, I think, unless it's Darkside or something like that, but the game is very picky of things like that. So I'm using the mod just because I have the soldier class, and we'll see what I decide on as far as the final use of it. I mean, because I'm using soldier and I already have the heavy armor a bit feet or whatever, I can already get to Revan's robe, so I just have to make sure I buy enough repair parts to purchase it. So it's just a matter of upgrading every other item, so getting the level 3 implants and toughness and all of that stuff. But as far as the character build goes, I'm going to be maxing out on strength, wisdom, and I think it's charisma or whatever it is. And then everything else will be leveled up accordingly. I don't know that I necessarily need persuade, but I'll probably level that up once other stuff starts getting maxed out. So, but that's more of like middle of the game by the time you get to I think it's less so on Terrace, but more so once you get to I think you can use a little bit on Dantooine, but more just once you finish those 2 planets, it's the rest of the planets that you want to focus on. So for the start, it's more of upgrading your character's personal stuff and then working on everything else after that. So the gameplay playlist is already up. I'll have the initial Endar Spire gameplay, character creation, and all that on the YouTube channel soon. So look out for all that gameplay on the YouTube channel soon for the public version, and then members will get it first as well. So the YouTube channel is youtube.com/PatelN01. The website is HeadphonesNeil.reviews for past episodes, supporting the show, subscribing, and all of that good stuff. But thanks for tuning into this particular episode, and until next time.